And no Jeff. But that's okay. He'll be back.
He's not feeling well. Feel good, homie.
We miss you. But keep that to yourself. So last week on the 31st of August, it was a very, very epic moment because Brandy versus Monica was on Versus. And everybody was excited. Everybody couldn't wait for this moment. A lot of people were like, oh, who you got, who you got? And to me, I'm like, why are we even battling? It should just be a celebration of these two women because there really is no battle. They're kind of different.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
I enjoy them both. And I think because of the controversy that surrounds them, especially with The Boy Is Mine and how everybody was pitting them together, I think it should have just stayed that, which is a celebration.
Okay.
However, I was disappointed. So it wasn't to my liking. I'm disappointed because I kind of wanted them both to sing. And I felt like they should have given us that. You know what I mean? Because you're both alive. You both got the vocals. You could do this. I noticed that when they played Monica's songs, they would cut the song and force kind of Monica to sing out. You know, give us something. Right. Even at the ends, with The Boy Is Mine, they didn't even sing it. And I'm thinking, well, maybe this whole time they're going to sing The Boy Is Mine, and now it's going to be their finale, but they just, like, sang with the track. And I'm like, hold up. This was the moment where y'all could have done something really, really big. I was disappointed.
So you think it was more of a lines of the fact that these two young ladies really didn't want to do it, maybe?
I'm starting to think they didn't want to do it. Because even though they were showing each other love and everything, I just don't understand. If I was Brandy or Monica and I had that voice, I'd be up there with the mic doing the whole thing. Like, if I had a whole audience, 1.2 million,
right?
Shoot, I'm going to give you a show.
Well, that's,
you know what I mean?
The thing. Like you said, these are two young ladies that can actually sing compared to a lot of these other singers that can, like Shanti, who could just hold a note. But she's not really a singer. I look at her more as a performer, like Sierra. Sierra can hold a note, but she's not a singer.
She's a performer.
But her thing is, she will put on a show, choreography, and dancing and stuff. That's her, you know. And I think, that was her thing going on road, really doing it. But for these two young ladies, like you said, to actually be able to sing and were good performers, that they will put on a better show. But it just seemed like these two young ladies just didn't want to be there. And then people, you got to love the internet, they started trolling Monica with those leg pants or boots, whatever the heck she had on. And they were comparing her to the king that was short and Shrek with the hat on. Yo, I was crying.
But the thing is that I enjoy both ladies. I'm more of a fan of Brandy than I am Monica, but I enjoy them both. Yes.
I'm listening.
I didn't see what the issue really was between them two. I thought they were both great vocal powerhouses. But to me, they showed a clip of Ray J. Ray J was all of us getting his life on. He's his sister's biggest fan. I love that relationship that they have.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Really beautiful.
And I love the fact that he was there for her and with her. Some people have said that Brandy's shy. That's why she didn't want to, sing out loud. But I'm like, but she was singing out loud on her Instagram. But then again, in her defense, she may not be, apparently she's a perfectionist. So she may not be comfortable in a room of a lot of people and she doesn't have that control. That could be one part. Monica, I remember in an interview, said that she doesn't always remember the words to her songs. So that could be another reason as to why she wasn't singing.
I've never really heard. Like, it's not like you have 1,000-song catalog, but for you not to remember your own vocals, wow.
So, I mean, right now, big ups to the both of them. This platform has, reintroduced them to a lot of new fans. Monica even has a new talk show coming out, Mo Talks, on Apple, I believe.
Okay.
So...
What is she going to talk about?
I don't know.
Like, how not to lose a man? Shots fired. But I understand.
But I mean, like, I hear her saying that she's got this new show with Apple, and then it brings me back to Joe Budden's situation, and I listened to the entire 45-minute clip of why he's not signing with Spotify, and it made sense to me. You know what I mean? And to hear all these other people, like you said, you have to be the president or the president's wife to get a great deal. And it's like, but he brings you all this traffic, and he's not even getting what he thinks he deserves. And I'm like, you shouldn't have to settle. If you want something, then you should fight for it. What I didn't understand was, and I still don't understand his relationship with Charlemagne, because to me it seems like Charlemagne thinks he knows so much, and I feel like maybe he just doesn't.
So with them, you have two guys who are friends.
Are they really friends?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, they did a lot. They had a podcast together. They did a lot of different things together. And what happens is, Charlemagne the God, if I'm not mistaken, is worth about $10 million. Where Joe Budden's, he's not there. And the argument between theirs was more lines of the money Joe Budden's is pretty much leaving on the table. Now, yeah, I agree with you. He broke it down within 2 episodes, which to me turned into whining after that. But
yeah,
he really went into the whole process of and I understood it, and I feel him. And the greatest thing about his show is he owns it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, all these other guys who's making all this money, they don't own the shows.
Right.
So, you know, just like, you know, back in the days with TVs, and you get people, great shows and friends, and, you know, you get all the repeats and all that other stuff. If you own something, you eat for life. No matter how long that TV show continues to flourish, you're always going to eat. So, you know, I think Joe Budden's was bitter, and he had every right to be, to where those guys shattered their budget in 1 hour, and they had a 2-year deal, and Spotify kept giving them excuse after excuse after excuse, and it kind of like trying to you know, kick them in the back or kick them while they're down, because everybody they're signing behind them is getting like $250 million. But then Spotify owns everything.
But the thing is that we're complaining about Spotify, but we've been talking for months and years about just creating your own platform.
And he did.
Why are we waiting for the white man to give us a bone so we can explore ourselves instead of just, you know, sticking with all blacks? Look at the Jews. They stick with all Jews.
I think that's black people problem there, trying to stick all black.
I mean, you're upset with Spotify. Okay, so then move on.
And that's what he's doing. And he's going to end up somewhere, because he does have the #1 podcast out there, period. Somebody's going to throw him some money. But I applaud him for not giving up his ownership, which a lot of people did. Like the Breakfast Club. Yeah, it's #1 for 10 years. Yeah, you're worth $10 million, but you don't own anything.
No. I mean, remember, they were going to get fired before Ray J came. So, I mean, they always talk about that.
Yeah.
And they were, because I watched them from the beginning. Because I used to be a Charlemagne fan.
Right.
I knew about Envy, but I didn't know him that well. And I really didn't know much about Yee until she had an interview, and she had mentioned how she interviewed for 105 and Hot 97. But she didn't want the Hot 97 because she really wasn't her own. She was going to be under, what's his face? Ebro.
Ebro, right.
Yeah, and she didn't like that. So that's when they picked up Laura Stiles. And my thing is that, again, they don't own anything, but they've gotten so much from that platform, which is probably why they're not leaving. But see, Charlemagne keeps hinting that his contract is up in December, and he thinks his shit is all that. And my issue with him is, sir, you have this platform after being fired for so many years, or so many times. You have multiple books talking about mental health. You branched off and have your own podcast, and then you have your other show, I guess, where you're interviewing people. You were on MTV too. I don't know what happened and why they kicked you off of MTV too, But then you had this amazing deal with HBO that you talked about, and then all of a sudden it quietly went away. We didn't hear anything else about it.
Absolutely.
And yet, Joe Budden mentions the whole HBO deal because he was mad at you for basically coming out against him.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, Joe, you call yourself besties with Charlemagne, and Charlemagne is a rapist. Why are you associating yourself with a rapist?
I feel you.
I used to listen to Power 105 until a story came out, and I was like, I'm not really feeling what I watched. Then, when I think back to other interviews that Charlemagne has had over the time, I realized how uncomfortable he made me feel with all these other women talking about date, rape, drugs, and it was just inappropriate. Right. And I'm thinking to myself, nobody checked him. I'm thinking, Envy, you have all these daughters and a wife, and you never checked him. I'm thinking, Angela Yee, you're a woman, and you never checked him on the things that he said.
Well, them two always bump heads. And I think they kind of like squash whatever little beef they had, especially with the whole Gucci thing going on. And
Gucci was that whole situation was very disrespectful. I'm not an Angela Yee fan, but I feel like if we're co-workers, at least have my back, Negro. Like, what was you doing?
Oh, but I mean,
you could still get your revenge if you would just contact Jessica Reed. I mean, you could get your revenge and have a one-on-one interview with her and let her speak about your coworker. Because her situation is real. He took advantage of her.
Break it down.
Okay, so basically, he knew her. It wasn't just a random chick that he, found. He knew her.
Right.
He took her to a party. He met her mother and said, I got her. She'll be okay because she's with me. Her mother knew him. Okay? Took her to a party and then slipped her some drugs. And then she was in a bedroom and his friends had their way with her, and then he took his turn on her. Now, he admitted to slipping her drugs, I believe. But come on now.
He admitted?
Somebody.
You sure about that? Okay.
He is guilty. Okay? But for whatever reason, because we're all under this hypnotic of Charlemagne the God, and because he does Donkey of the Day and he's his voice of New York, we forget that part. And when Jessica's story came out, all of a sudden he talks about mental health issues, right?
Right.
Sir. I mean, this is the same man who joked about raping his wife. How do you joke about that?
Can you rape your wife?
She laughed about it too. But again, I look at Envy funny because I'm thinking, you have daughters. You Nimrod. Like, what is this association that you have? Angela Yee, you're a freaking woman. Like, where's the girl power? You should have a problem with that. You should be uncomfortable with this man in the same room. Again, like Joe Budden said, sir, why did HBO drop you? Oh, for something you claim you didn't do. They probably watched that same documentary. Shout out to Choke No Joke. And then, oops, they believe her. Just like the rest of us do. What you gonna lie for? You made money off this chick in your book, sir.
I feel you, but, not saying that it happened in this case, but it wouldn't be the first time a woman lied about things that happened between, physically happened between her and a gentleman. It happens all the time. And this is where it's kind of like hard. Because, a woman can claim a man of anything and not have to deal with any of the repercussions of it. But once a man is accused of something, he has to live with that shit for the rest of his life.
Again, HBO dropped you, sir. So, that leads me to believe that they believe her. Because that didn't add up right. And then maybe by doing some other research and listening to your other interviews, they've realized you was probably more of a liability than anything. Now everybody can sit here and be all Charlemagne this and Charlemagne that, Leonard. No. I think you're disrespectful. I think you're hiding a lot. I mean, it's no secret that you was out on your wife. Before she was your wife, you was, having sex with other women anyway. You was disrespecting her. So it's easy for me to believe that you're a womanizer. Now, you want me to think that he calmed down on the cheating? I highly doubt that.
It's possible. You can't say that.
I highly doubt that. But the fact that your wife is still with you and knowing that this story's out there, then again, if she laughed about you allegedly raping her, then she might be down with that whole situation. I don't know. But let's go back to Versus real quick.
All right.
So before it began, they kept talking about they had a surprise, and it was Kamala Harris. And I'm like, what is she doing here? Number one, I can guarantee you she ain't know who they were. She don't listen to their music. So again, why is she here? Then I was sitting here like, is Versus becoming political now? And I realized, yes, Versus is now becoming political because you see FLOTUS, Michelle Obama, all through there talking about people voting. So you use this platform because you got millions of followers or millions of people watching.
Right.
Now you want to get them to vote, but you want them to vote Democrat. I would love to see everybody vote the opposite way. This is something I don't like. I don't like it when we're having a moment and we're trying to enjoy ourselves because we have this whole COVID situation, and you take this opportunity to remind people to vote. I don't care about politics in that moment. I just want to have a good time. And it made me uncomfortable because now I'm thinking, so every time I tune in, it's going to be about this whole voting situation. It was When We All Vote. That's Michelle Obama's platform.
Right.
So now Versus is a part of When We All Vote. I am so over it. I'm tired of it. I don't need nothing political. I don't need for Brandy or Monica to even deal with politics.
Well, like
okay?
you said, we're there
Kamala
to
Harris
enjoy
don't
the
know who
show.
y'all are. She can't even sing The Boy Is Mine. She's just going to sit here and tell us the importance of voting. For what, lady? Don't you have a debate to prep for? Like, what are you talking to me about for? I don't even understand this. Everybody's like, Michelle Obama in the house. Michelle don't do nothing. When are y'all going to wake up? She over here making her millions. Where are the millions going? Okay? I mean, she putting it back. I mean, she reps Southside Chicago a lot, so is she putting that money back into Chicago?
They don't even live there. You know, I mean, you can rep it, but you're not there anymore.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from New York, from the Bronx. I'm not there anymore. I'm paying. My money's going out here in Jersey. I mean, it's how I was raised and what I'm about.
Okay.
But at the end of the day,
So moving on to Biden. Biden had a press conference, if you could sit through that, and he was basically saying that he has a plan to reopen schools safely. This bothered me because I was like, well, schools are already in session, so what are you talking about now? They're not safe to open. A lot of them are virtual. So he has this plan, and he keeps saying, go check his website. Well, sir, I checked your website. There ain't no plan there. What are you talking about? So what is your plan? Because there's no plan there. What part of your website was I supposed to look at? Because I looked at each one. There's no plans to reopen schools safely during COVID season.
His plan worked. It was to get you to log on to his site so they can say, listen, I have 100 million people on, trying to view my site. So when it comes time to get those sponsorships going, that's something you can use to your advantage and be like, hey, I got all these sponsors. Look at all the people that's on the site. Something similar to what Facebook does.
Okay, but you could have all the Sir, don't you get money from Black Lives Matter organization? Act Blue, don't they give you money?
Them dudes is ridiculous.
Yes, truth. Listen, you're endangered. Okay, you're in danger.
Absolutely.
Because they're trying to remove you.
Absolutely.
And replace you as a father with a woman. So that woman can take care of your son.
Exactly.
Okay? Your son, if Biden is elected, your son will have to share a bathroom with a transgendered boy.
Hey, my thing is, if you gotta sit down, sit down. If you gotta stand up, stand up.
Okay? Your son will be playing a sport, and he will be playing with a girl who's now a boy.
Yeah, they had a big thing about that because there was a lot of guys changing their sexuality, but they still wanted to play sports. Like one of them is in wrestling, and won, I think, state championship like 4 or 5 years in a row. And you know, I don't care what you cut off, like your body's still
exactly. I worry about the women sports because it's still unfair, unless if you're telling me they're taking hormones to make them more female, but at the same time,
your body's still structured like a man. You know, I mean, how much pills can you actually take that
they can do anything?
Take away that testosterone and all that other stuff. Like you have to take pills to.
They can do anything at this point. So I mean, it's still unfair because now women are competing for homecoming queens with other queens, and it's like it's just too much. I'm for you being who you want to be, but I'm also for allowing kids to be kids, teenagers to be teenagers. And I feel like if they're going to change their sexual preference,
right,
it should be when they're 18 and over. I don't even think you should mess with their, puberty. But you're doing it anyway. So, I mean, that's Biden's plan anyway. That's his first thing when he's in office. But again, he said he had a plan to get everybody back in school safely.
Right.
He keeps talking about the science. Like, dude, they talk about that all the time at the White House. What are you talking about? What is it that the president right now isn't saying? Because he said everything. So what is it that you don't comprehend? He said that they had to open the schools no matter what. Now everybody's damn near virtual. So what? You want everybody to walk around in masks all day. Excuse me, sir. I see people in their cars with masks. What you got a mask on for? You in a car.
Yeah. And by yourself. That's the
and
funny
by yourself. But see, Biden wants you by yourself to wear a mask. Biden's the one that's going to say it is mandatory for everybody to take this vaccine. Sir, you take it first. I'm like, hello, you can't force everybody to take it. And if the Jews don't take it, ain't none of us taking it. And don't tell me it's a religious thing. That's bull. If the Jews are not first in line to take this, ain't none of us taking it. If the Muslims ain't taking it, ain't none of us taking it. It's the fact. When a Muslim takes it and a Jew takes it, I'll wait.
And that'll be the big tail sign, because what they're going to try to do is your kid, like they do now, where your child has to be immunized in order to attend school or play sports.
School is virtual. There are no
sports.
So
when y'all
say that, who's still taking their kids back to school? Half of the school ain't getting a shot. Point blank in the period. You cannot force people to do something that they're uncomfortable with if you rushed it. Now I'm starting to think, y'all rushing this whole vaccine situation. Is it really being rushed, or did you have one already and you just had a date where you was releasing it? Because I find it very hard to believe that y'all rushed this and y'all can't rush and find a cure for other things, but you got this vaccine that the WHO don't want to get behind, but ain't nobody paying attention to the WHO because y'all some messed up people anyway. So you have a vaccine that you say you're going to roll out November 2nd or November 1st. Now, here come the elections. Y'all mad at Trump because he told people to vote twice, and that's not what he said. He said, go ahead and vote by mail if you have to, but if you were unsure and you don't think your vote was counted, then go to the damn polls. That's not telling somebody to vote twice. That's, hello, because many of us don't trust the paper, because I'm still doubting that my votes were even counted after hearing all the issues that they having. And have you spoken to the mail people? Do you know what goes on behind the scenes? I think y'all be surprised that it's kind of messed up. So if y'all can sit here and stand in line for the grocery store, if y'all can sit here and stand in line for the DMV, if y'all can stand in line for everything else, like get your bagels in the morning, I was seeing down the shore, there's this one spot, there's a line around the corner because y'all waiting for your food. If y'all could do that, then damn it, go to the damn poll and vote like you normally would. It ain't but a hot second to say if you for this person or that person. You all get the same ballot in the mail that shows you how to vote. So you should already know what you're doing. Mark off or circle who it is you're going to do. Take the paper with you. Go in there. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, what's that question? Because you already read it. Yes or no. And then be done with it. Press the done. And you good to go. It's not that difficult, okay? How are you voting?
Me? I refuse to vote.
And if you don't want to vote, nobody's forcing you to vote. If you're not being forced to vote, then you shouldn't be forced to take a vaccine that you're uncomfortable with. Because the government doesn't care if you're comfortable or not. Okay? It's your life. If you've never been sick, why the hell would you take a shot that's going to inject you with shit you ain't ever had? Sorry I cursed, but that's how I feel. If you have never been sick, why would you let somebody inject you with a disease or a virus that you never had? That doesn't even make sense. So they're purposely trying to make you sick. You need to tell me everything that's in them shots.
Well,
because parents are not that dumb, and we're not willing to just let our kids be taken advantage of and used as experiments. I don't think so. I don't care how many people you tested. You don't know what's going to happen months from now, years from now, or what the issues are going to be from it. Especially if you have a child that has an IEP or an autistic child. You don't even know how that. Did you test on an autistic person to see how they would react to it? So I'm not even here for it. Have you tested on a person who has another different type of illness that it could possibly alter? You don't even know. Who's allowed to take it? Who are you targeting? And if we all say no, see, here's the thing. This is why we all got to act together. Because if the whole country says no, except for the people in power, you can't force everybody. You can't lock everybody up. That's why there's power in numbers. It is so important. If a whole town of 500 people said no, you can't lock up 500 people. You're going to have to figure out something else. But you're allowing all these people to make these decisions. You're allowing Nancy Pelosi to make a decision for you. And Nancy's out here getting her hair cut. And y'all can't get your hair cut. Why are you not mad about that? You should be. Because if it's okay for her, it should be okay for you. So then why is she telling you not to do certain things? And she lives in that damn state. And she don't know the rules? Pay attention. She wasn't banking on being caught on camera. Pay attention. All right? Because after a while, people who do wrong, they start to tell on themselves. She wouldn't even answer questions. She was getting aggravated at her weekly briefing when they were asking her. She didn't want to answer it. Oh, what's the problem? You don't like the heat on you? Lady, you're the one who went and got your hair done. I'm sorry, you're the one who went and got your hair did. Just like that Chicago mayor, Mayor Lightfoot. Remember how everything was on lockdown, but she went to go get her hair done? Y'all couldn't do nothing, but she could. Y'all want to defund the police, but she got security. So if y'all need help, who you calling? Because 911's going to be a thing of the past. You're going to lay more people off. Think about it.
That's definitely coming. Definitely coming.
Okay, so July 2021. I thought this was a joke until I read Usher is coming to Vegas. Now, I wrote him off, right? Because he was having some flats, and I was getting pissed off. His moves weren't on point. I was getting pissed off. Then my man went on to Instagram, and he let me know. He reminded me of a man I once knew. The vocals were there, and I said, let me text my friend. I said, we down to go to Vegas? Oh, we down to go to Vegas. I'm gonna be in Vegas. I'm not trying to sleep with him, so I'm not gonna get like herpes or whatever he has. But I definitely want to be in his presence, though.
Oh shit! That was some disrespectful stuff, but okay.
But I really do want to be in his presence because I went to one concert and I thought it was the best concert ever that he gave, and he was on point, and I missed that. If that usher's coming to the stage, then I'm all good, And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It just won't happen with him, but in concert,
Hey, trips to Vegas right now is like $2. So it's the best time to, actually do that. I'm happy to see him back. I think he allowed a good amount of time for a lot of things to die down. Things that was going out about him. And now we can just focus on the artists, the music, the dancing. So I think it's a great time.
Now, before I get into this next segment, gyms reopen September 1st. Now, truth, did you go?
I was one of the first ones online. I went. And I loved it because literally, there was 5 people in there.
What?
The next day I went, it was a little more. The next day, a little more. I think people are getting a little more accustomed to coming out. I joined. I've always been a membership of a gym. But it was another one I joined because that one was allowed to be open because it categorized itself as an academy.
Mm-hmm.
So they were allowed to stay open. And that place is just too small for me. I think it's a good gym. But at the end of the day, I don't like waiting for equipment.
Okay.
So, hey, it's a good one, but when it's time for me to get to the bench to do my dumbbell inclines, I want to do my dumbbell inclines. I don't want to have to wait around. And one time it was this guy holding 3 machines. I'm like, you freaking kidding me? But I'm not gonna argue or fight. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm out. I just got my stuff. I got my cardio in, and I left.
So how was it? How did it feel though?
It was more intense because of at my home gym, they make sure you keep your mask on the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
At the other gym I went to, everyone wears masks until they get into the gym, and then no one wears a mask while they're in the gym.
I mean, has anybody gotten sick from going to the gym?
It's not about going to the gym. It's about people sweating and not wiping down machines.
Has anybody ever gotten sick by someone else's sweat or someone breathing hard? Have you ever been to the gym and came out with an illness afterwards because you went to the gym? I know a lot of people like to go to the gym when they're sick because it makes them feel better.
Sweat it out.
Yeah. But again, even the ones that go to the gym sick, have you ever gotten sick because you went to the gym while that person was sick?
I think I got sick one time for somebody though, but it wasn't nothing like crazy. But it takes a lot to get me sick. My immune system is the truth. But I agree with you on that one. But my main gym, they ask you to. There's a list that they have to go down, and they have to ask you every question on the list. They take your temperature from your wrist, not your forehead. They take a temperature from your wrist.
What?
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah.
I mean, you cut into my workout time. I'm going to be here longer than I had to be.
Because it'll defer people from going. Like I said, I despise waiting for equipment. And I'm not saying that, I'm a special person and all this other stuff. But it's just like, there are a lot of people when they get to a machine, they want to check the Instagram and Facebook and Twitter accounts. And I'm like wanting to punch them in their face. I'm like, you here to work out.
You ain't got time.
Yeah, you here to work out, not, lollygag. But it was good to be back in there. It felt good. I was sore as Gibraltar. I ain't gonna front. I was very sore that night. But, I've been going back since last week since they opened. So I'm getting back into my form. I'm not there yet. But I'm getting there. Give me about a couple more months. I'll be back to where I was before they close.
Oh, okay. What was that?
So what I would like to do is I'll do like four like weight exercises. And for every exercise I do 10 minutes of cardio, and then I end the day with 2,000 meters in the seated row.
Okay.
So there's no way in hell I'm doing all that. Right now I'm at about like 1,500 meters. I do one weight exercise, and then I do 10 minutes on the elliptical. And then every week I'm going to increase and add another weight regimen in there until I get back to where I was.
All right, cool. I haven't been yet. I was on vacation, but I'm going tomorrow.
Rich people stuff. Now, because of I always want to ask people this question, like, will it be different because you're used to training outside? Would it be different to actually, walk into a gym and have to do the exercises inside?
No, I miss inside. I hate being outside. I hate bugs. I hate summer. So, like, for me, if my trainer said, I want to train you in the winter, I'd be like, let's go outside. I love winter. I love the cold.
Right.
I hate the heat. So I'm excited. In fact, he could come with me. I am excited. I hate being outdoors. I hate bugs. I hate mosquitoes. So this for me, I've been waiting for.
So you do a regimen of more like cardio or,
I do the elliptical for about maybe 20 to 30 minutes. If I get into a groove, well, I go by whatever music I'm listening to. So if I'm in a groove,
yeah, it does set your
I'll
mood.
be like on there for a good minute.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, I'm about to get off, but then I see a goal and I'm like, oh, let me do this or let me do that extra. Let me push it some more.
Right.
Then after that, before COVID, it was whatever machines were available. Because the way it works is everybody's on something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then if I'm there and I see a machine that I want, sometimes I'll skip the cardio and I'll go to that machine because it's limited. So, and I think with my gym, certain things are blocked off. Now, I went to another gym prior to that. It was like a bodybuilding gym. I stopped going because I had an issue with my membership, and I just... when people don't respond, it irritates me, so I just end it. Right. You know what I mean? So I wanted to change my card and for the payment. And I contacted them, but nobody called me back. And they're not there 24/7. So I'm like, yo, I left your message.
Or it's like kind of like one of those mom and pops? Is it one of the franchises?
No, I know the owner. And I'm like, okay, but you're supposed to have somebody. Nobody was there. So then I get this thing in the mail where, oh, you're missing payment. And I'm like, I don't even know who these people are because when I signed up, they must have signed with this other company after I signed up. So I didn't know who they were.
Right.
So I contacted them, which is why I went to the desk because I didn't know who to call. And I said, I'm not trying to pay my bill. I was like, I'm trying to change the card because that card doesn't work anymore. So... I didn't have to pay all the money that they said I owed because they saw the error. But at the same time, I was like, I'm going to cancel it because I don't like the fact that I reached out and ain't nobody reached back to me. I just felt disrespected. So I was like, I'm done. But that gym, it was 24 hours. So every time that I was there, it was probably like maybe 3 people there. Beautiful. And you had access to all the equipment. But again, it's a bodybuilding gym. So a lot of it for me... I need guidance to use all that, and it didn't really work out for me. Okay. So I switched over to Planet Fitness, and
I picked things up and put them down.
Like I went with a friend of mine, James, and he ended up signing with another gym, but I didn't go with his gym because I used to be a member there, and I was like, they're dirty, they don't clean. I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
One day I was at that gym. I was doing some floor exercises. I was so exhausted. I happened to look over to my right as I was laying down. I saw an ant. I was done. I said, what the heck is this?
An ant?
Yes.
That's not that bad.
I don't care. Plus, they don't restock?
Restock, yeah.
Restock or whatever. I kept finding myself looking for things and nothing was where it's supposed to be. And I'm like, they have 2 levels. first floor and a second floor.
Right.
And I'm like, at least you should be able to, who's ever on duty, go upstairs to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. So I was like, you know what, I'm done. They tried to keep me, and I was like, again, I saw a bug. I don't do well with that. So I'm like, no. I was like, my head was there. That bug could have came on. Ugh. So now I'm at Planet Fitness.
Okay.
And I was only there for a couple months before this pandemic happens. But again, and it was 24 hours too. Now they close at 10.
Yeah, still.
And I'm like, I don't even understand that. I was like, you would get so much more out of it if you would just leave it 24 hours.
Well, it's not them. It's, stipulations that the governor is laying on them.
But it's 24 hours. So the thing is that people who can't make it the times that the gym is open, at least they'll be able to go overnight like they wanted to. I'm like, this governor is getting on my damn nerves. Like, so many, come on, dude. People have been waiting for this. Like, again, you have those that go after work. You have those that like to go early in the morning. Then you have those who go late at night. Right. There's a routine there. You can still keep it 24 hours. There's nothing wrong with that. 10 o'clock? I mean, that's bull. Some people like to go twice a day.
Yeah, that time is kind of, in between.
So, like, if I wanted to join a gym that ended at 10 or 11,
right,
I would have done that. I joined Planet Fitness because it was 24 hours. Now, I feel like I'm being gypped. Because, again, I joined a gym that's supposed to be 24 hours, and you're only limiting me till 10 o'clock. And I'm a type of person that was going late at night because I don't like crowds, period.
Right.
Which is why I chose a 24-hour gym. So I feel some type of way about that.
No, I feel you. Especially like you said, this is the thing that sold me on this gym, and that was being 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that now I'm being crunched in as far as time-wise, as far as what machine will be available, and what'll eventually start happening is you won't stop. You'll just stop going because it's like there's not going to be equipment that I truly want to use anyway.
Right. And they don't have like the weight, and I don't know what it looks like now, so I don't know what they blocked off. But for me, again, I might end up just canceling my membership only because, again, I was there for the 24 hours, and I did that for a reason.
Right.
And I'm not liking this 10 o'clock thing because if that was the case, I could have joined Retro. I could have joined all the other ones that end at 10 o'clock. So it doesn't sit well with me. Well, I could possibly just go back to the gym I came from and say, screw it, because it's still 24 hours. You could go in at any time you want to.
Well, what if it's the fact that they're just doing 10 o'clock now and another month or whatever, they're going to go back to 24?
It doesn't make sense to do 10 o'clock now and then go back to 24 hours. You should just been 24 hours. But there's no logical reason for it not to be 24 hours. To me, it allows a lot more room and opportunity for people to go to the gym. Because you're not going to have people going at the same time. It's not going to be like 500 people out there at 12 o'clock.
Right.
There's never that many people there. 500 is a lot, I know. But there's not going to be 100 people there at 12 o'clock at night. But that allows the people who have a routine, especially your nurses and your other people that do overnight shifts.
Right.
They like to come in and not like at 5 o'clock, but some of them like to go in at 4 o'clock.
That is true.
They get off at a certain time. The first thing they do is they go to the gym, and then boom, they're done. And so for some people, they plan it out that they know certain machines are going to be available. You know what I mean? So it's like...
Well, yeah, that's killer, especially when you have set in your mind the workout you want to do, and when it comes time to doing it, you actually got to sit there, and your momentum and everything is different, because now you have to wait 3 or 4 minutes for this person to finish up to free up a machine. So,
and darn well they're not finished, because just because they stood up and walked around, they're not done. They have to let themselves relax and then go back into the sets. I ain't got time. You know what I mean?
I think you need one of those super mega gyms.
I'm looking into other possibilities, but
ones that have a great amount of equipment, like they got like 50 ellipticals and this and that.
That would be Lifetime Fitness. Lifetime Fitness has that amount of like equipment where you can still socially distance if they blocked off the machines, but at the same time, it's big enough for you to do what you got to do.
Yeah, they
but
did that at my gym. They blocked off like every other machine.
But still, it's like, I mean, you know, when you're on a cardio machine, you're always looking to see what's available next.
Right.
But if you have those guys that are like sitting here and, you know, they're taking their time with certain machines, you're not going to be able to get on. And then it's like you got to wait for machines to open up so you can use it. It's just more problems than anything.
Yeah.
Like, they got this really great gym, Iron Fitness, and it's near Morristown. It's in Morris County. Very spacious gym. Then there's the Ironbound in Newark.
I heard about that one.
I'm tempted to join them because I don't think that they're heavily crowded, but I don't know what their hours are. I gotta look that up because they were 24 hours too.
Right.
Again, if you're not gonna stay 24 hours, then what is the point?
Yeah, it defeats the purpose.
It defeats the purpose.
Well, you know, you have a lot of companies that, again, especially we're talking about the non-franchises, they can't afford to, you know, be out any longer than they already have been out. So with them, it's all about trying to recoup any and all funds that they can. So they're not trying to, you know, lose every penny.
So here, Ironbound, their hours I see are still. They're not 24 hours anymore.
Okay.
They start at 5 a.m. and they close at 12 a.m.
Well, at least that's better than, you know, closing at 10.
That is better than closing at 10.
I mean, it sounds like it's not, but those 2 hours, it'd be graceful for a person. Like, if you get there at 10:30, 11, and, like, you can really, like, grind your workout instead of kind of, like, take your time, put it all together. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. It's just a service. I'm going to go tomorrow and see what it's like. I figure because they have a tracker where you can check to see if it's crowded or not. So I figure 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, not 5 o'clock. They're open at 7. So 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll go and check it out to see what's available. I may have to change up a bit. Instead of, you know, starting with cardio, I may have to get on the machines that I want to get on and then end with cardio.
Right.
And that might be how to do it, you know? And I figure I'll take 2 hours. And that way, because normally what I would do is I would go twice. So for me, because I need a lot more work, and I figure I'll just double up. So if I could stay 2 hours and get the weights in and then do my cardio. And sometimes my cardio can go from 30 to an hour. It depends.
You a beast.
Well, if it's on the elliptical, like I said, I really can do an hour because I'll be listening to music and stuff like that,
Yeah,
so I
you
get
zone
distracted.
out. Yeah, you zone out.
Yeah.
I like to watch my little TV shows.
Sometimes I do that too, and if I'm like watching and I'm interested in something, yeah, I'm distracted. I don't do the bike. I do the treadmill every now and then. But the elliptical is more my speed.
Right.
I haven't mastered the Stairmaster yet. It's intimidating for me.
Yeah,
I have to build up to it.
Yeah, that's for the pros.
But I get it. You take your time with that. And like I said, the setup of Planet Fitness, like they have their 360 machines, but it's like they have 4. And I don't know what the rules are with that because I doubt you can have more than one person, or maybe you could only have 2 people on those machines.
Right.
So it's a matter of how to make it work.
Well, I mean, once you can find a routine, you'll be good. Like, you know, once you find an actual gym that you're comfortable with, that you know, works with your schedule, you'll get in there and you'll find your schedule. Because, you know, not every time everything's going to be available. You know, there'll be a time or two, but that other gym's like a couple of days I was there, it's like I'm having to wait. And it's just like, I can't do this.
Exactly.
You know, I got off the elliptical, go straight on the seated row, and now I'm ready to hit the bench, and I got to wait.
Don't wait, you forgot something. Now you have to clean it between your sets.
Well, I've always did that. Like, that, I'm the only person I saw at the other gym that walked around with the rag and the spray bottle.
And I'm like, do you even have enough spray bottles? Because if everybody, to me, I would want to keep the spray bottle by me. So when I'm finished, I feel like every machine that's available should have a spray bottle right there. So
Well,
that way when you're done, you can spray it down, wipe it, and then move on instead of having to go and get it. Like for me, one time I forgot which machine I was on because I left to go get the bottle, but then I was confused, like, well, which one did I use? Because the numbers went off. So I was like, crap. So I ended up cleaning two because I could remember.
Right.
And I never looked behind me, so I don't know who was behind me. And I'm like, I thought it was this, but then now I'm thinking it's this. I don't know what was on the TV. I don't know.
Right. Well, I mean, I give my gym credit. Blink. All right. Blink has always used the sanitary rags.
I wanted to join Blink.
Wipes. So even before COVID, they always had the Purex wipes. So that's why I always gave them credit. They've always been, good wiping down. The only thing with gyms is you might find a person who doesn't want to wipe it down after they finish. They'll just go to the next machine.
Because they probably feel like it's just going to take time to do all that. And I get it.
Nah, I drop kick a person for
but
stuff
at the same time, it's like, no. And you have to, it's your sweat, chick.
Yeah,
no.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you just sat
and
there.
some people be sweating nasty.
Yeah.
Like, ew.
Yeah, you didn't wet this entire thing up like someone urinated on it.
Ew.
Like, wipe this doggone thing down. So, even people, that's just me, though. Because, like, even people who wipe it down, I go behind them and wipe it again.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, you spray, you wipe, and it's like, you got to remember to wipe everything. And to me, it's too much. But it is what it is.
I mean, see, that'll be coughing up your left lung.
Well, hey. So, let's end this show with pastors, shall we?
I knew you was going to go there.
It's funny because my mom was like, do you listen to that pastor anymore? Because I don't hear you listening to him. I used to listen to Pastor John Gray. I liked his sermons.
Where's he from?
Where is he from? I don't know, but his church is in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay. Well, I mean, his church. I apologize.
Yeah.
All right.
Relentless Church. And I enjoyed his sermons. They spoke to me. But I stopped listening because I felt like, and this is before COVID, I felt like if you weren't physically there, it's really not for you. Because I feel like he has a large online presence, but I felt like a lot of times he forgets that he has that online presence. Okay. So whenever he's, preaching, it's like he's always catering to the people that are physically there. And I'm like, maybe you should do like every third Sunday and just make it all about your online group. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just me. But then they were scheduled to open multiple churches or campuses, I should say. And I thought about it. I was like, if I was attending Relentless in South Carolina as a paying or as a tither, I would want to be able to meet with my pastor. And I'm thinking to myself, it seems like if you go to Relentless, you can't meet him or have a meeting with your pastor. You would have associate pastors.
Right.
But at the same time, if he's my main pastor and I want to talk to my main pastor, I should be able to. Same thing as if you're online. If he's my pastor, I want to talk to him. If I join the church, I want to talk to him. Then I was thinking to myself, but if you have all these multiple locations or campuses, how are you going to really deal with your parishioners? Like, if they want to meet you and talk to you and have, some type of guidance, how can you do that? You really can't. Because you're in South Carolina. You're not in Atlanta. You're not in other places. So if you have all these campuses, who's preaching? Do you have a screen where they're going to see you preach? Like, how does that work? I don't know. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting turned off. Then I heard something. Now, the first time we heard about him cheating, I remember him telling the story, but I wasn't, like, up in arms. Because I was like, this couldn't have been recent because his wife seemed so chill about it. So I was like, okay, so this must have happened. So I used my brain, common sense, and I realized, and they confirmed that it happened years ago, and they were just using it. He was using it as a part of his sermon to basically let everybody know that pastors mess up too. You know what I mean?
Right.
But people were upset then. I was like, y'all, it's their business. That's his wife. She got to deal with that. But I mean, everything was fine then. So we thought. So then reports came out. It wasn't really a report. It was gossip from this one chick that he had a mistress. And he was complaining that his wife doesn't cook, son in the back. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this could have been an old video. Right? Because at the time, his son looked small. So I was like, that could have been an old video from the last time. And I remember he came out and said, oh, he was being extorted for money. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that because that looked like an old video. The second video came out. This man is over here with a mask on. And I said, now, sir, these are COVID times. Everybody got a mask. Hot dog. You couldn't even fake it. So this is Reed saying you trying to hook up with some lady. And I'm like, what is it about your wife you don't like? Everybody's sitting here talking about this man cheating on his wife again. And I'm like, sir, what is it about your wife you don't like? Because I'm willing to bet there's something about Aventer that you do not like, which is causing you to step out on your marriage. Because there is no reason to step out on your marriage. You apologize. Y'all making it great again. You're supposed to be getting her pregnant with some twins. Like, y'all supposed to be moving on. You're making your relentless grow. So what is it about Aventer? Because don't say it's you. What is it about Aventer that you do not like that causes you to step out and be with another woman? What is it that she doesn't do that causes you to step out to be with another woman? Now, he had a caption where he said, because he went to his church and he apologized to his wife and to his church members, but he said, you know more than anyone else, and this is to his wife, the areas of pain that I have carried for years. That's got absolutely nothing to do with why you cheated. Nobody cares about the pains that you have because you have a whole entire wife and a therapist, right? So if you have issues, you go to your wife and you go to your therapist. You have other pastors that you could talk to about your issues. Now, could you be a sex addict? That could be a possibility. Are you cheating with just anybody? Are you cheating with random women because you could get that because you're popular and people know who you are and you like the attention? Or are you not happy where you are? You can't blame what happened to you as a little boy because by this time you should be healed. Okay? So what is the issue? It's stuff like this that irritates me. It's stuff like this that makes me not want to hear from you again because you make no sense at this point. Now, I knew something was funny because your wife started taking all these modeling pictures, and I'm like, okay, something's not right in your marriage. Now, all of a sudden, she's losing weight, making herself look really cute, and I'm like, somehow, in my mind, y'all need to divorce. I don't think y'all should even be together. But now, if you divorce, what happens to the church? The church will still be with you, but she won't be the first lady no more, which would leave room for a new first lady. It happens. But is she no longer a pastor? Is she going to move on and go with this modeling career and see what happens when you're a pastor of a big mega church? You become famous. And you forget about pastoring, and it's more about catering to your celebrity friends and being on TV and all this other stuff. And that's how you lose people, because you no longer become real. You just become the next story. You become the next gossip. Luckily, Wendy Williams took a hiatus, and Wendy isn't there anymore. So now, because if Wendy was there, you would have been dragged. People would get mad at Wendy, but Wendy only talks about stuff that's out there for us to talk about, right? Which is why I tuned into her years ago. By the way, The Real is coming back, right?
Yes.
They added a new co-host. Garcelle Bouvoy, whatever her name is.
That's fucked up.
Fancy. From the Jamie Foxx show.
Yeah.
And she was on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for whatever reason, I don't know. And she ain't doing that no more. And I'm thinking to myself, everybody's happy about this. And I'm like, why? I'm not happy about this because I feel as though you lost that whack chick, Amanda Seales. Yes, I said whack because that wasn't the platform for her. Then you lose Tamara, which I'm okay with because when I tuned into the show originally, I tuned in for Tamar. Tamar was gone, but I could stomach Jeannie and I could stomach Adrian, and I was cool with that. But I wasn't watching on a regular basis, so who cares? But you replace those two with Garcelle, Bouvet. Why? There was like so many other candidates in my mind. She was not one. And I'm like, okay, again, just like Amanda should have said no to becoming a full-time co-host because, again, you got to know your audience. The Real, you have to know who your audience is. You should know who your audience is. Now, unless if this is part one of part two. So you have part one where you're bringing in an older woman to grab an older crowd. But then part two is you're going to bring in another co-host to grabbing your younger crowd. Because, again, what are we doing here? I don't know, and I can't follow it. I'm going to watch because I want to critique. But other than that, I don't see this show lasting for much longer because it just doesn't make sense at this point. But, yeah, The Real has a new co-host, Garcelle Beauvais. Fancy from the Jamie Foxx show. Monica's going to have a talk show on Apple. Mo Speaks. Anybody else not making music or acting that wants a talk show? Who else?
Hey, they gotta eat too, young lady. They gotta eat too.
I know they gotta eat, but damn.
I mean, I understand from Monica's situation, just because of the fact of a lot of the older artists who aren't making consistent music, money came from touring. And since that's done, right now the best thing you can do is do a talk show or something, because the majority of the world is home.
So what is she gonna talk about? Who's she gonna talk to? Her celebrity friends?
Well, I mean, that would be. Hey, that's what Oprah did.
Talking to their celebrity friends.
Oprah did. She made it work.
What?
Oprah made it work. All she did was talk to her friends. If you
don't ever bring her name up. She is canceled as in with a capital C.
You know, sad thing, she really trying right now to come back. But
I don't care how many times you put Breonna Taylor's name on a billboard, you're still canceled. I will always remember how you betrayed your black folks.
Can't argue with you there, young.
And then we have Wendy Williams. She's coming back, and she's also got her biopic that's getting ready to tape. And then Issa Rae, I guess they're getting ready to film Insecure the next season.
Why?
And she tweeted that she can't wait to have sex with mannequins. So I guess they can't have sex with each other or be physical with each other. They have to fake it.
Well, I think I've always thought that was, to me, a real touchy thing as far as, getting into bed with a complete stranger, especially when you're in a relationship. It always,
It's called acting.
Problems.
You can't do that.
No.
Do you need me to teach you? Like what?
No,
you can't...
it's not that. It's like, okay, like, do you want your husband putting another chick's nipple in his mouth? You know what I mean? So it's just...
It's not like how you think. I mean, it's... One, it's great if you have amazing chemistry with that person because then that means it's going to be effortless. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of people in a room and you're being directed as to how to touch, where to touch, how to suck, how to do this. So there's no romance in it. It's all technical. Because it's not like you are just grabbing her nipples and just sucking away. They're going to want you to do it in a certain way.
Well, I understand that, but we're men. All we got to do is lick it once and we're good,
But that's not what they want to show on camera.
I understand
and
that.
Don't forget, you're doing it multiple times. You're not just doing one take. You have to do it multiple times, and they got cameras all over the place. So there's nothing to really worry about because... I mean, any hard-on that you could have had, you lost it when the director told you to cut 15 times, and you still trying to figure out how to get this chick off, and she's got to fake it because she ain't really into it at this point because she's tired. Like, how many times you gonna suck her nipple?
You put me in the room with the right shorty, I don't care if she into it or not, I'm good. As long as I'm good.
But, I wanted to make pornos,
right.
Shoot and direct them. But, I mean, I really got to sit here and tell y'all how to do it.
Well, I mean, that's where the acting comes, because like you speak to a lot of the adult actresses after the filming, and they won't date anybody that has what they just got pounded out with
No.
on scene.
No.
80% of them, you know, and so it's kind of like crazy when you get a chance to really talk to them, and it's like, this is my job, perform. I'm gonna act like I'm brave, but I don't want that at home, you know. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But if they're doing models, again, it's all about for the, you know, the virus. They want to make sure nobody's rubbing bodies or whatever on it. I mean, some people like her show. I couldn't tolerate it. I like her as an actress. I will watch her films all day long, but her TV show, I can't do it.
You can't do the TV show, but you was okay with Lovebirds.
I loved it. I thought their comedy, it fed off each other.
Okay.
Like I said, I could watch her as an actress, but like as the photographer, I liked her in that. But to watch her TV show, couldn't do it.
You like the photograph. I hated it. You know why? It was so predictable. I already knew. Oh my gosh. Once I knew what was going on, I was done. Done.
So you knew that was her father.
Yes, that was obvious. I was like, wait a minute. Why did y'all let us know so fast? Man, I was done. I was so upset. I was like, I'm on a date. And I'm like, I already know what's going on.
Right. Well, you
So,
should have spent. You should have
The
spent
Invisible
your time
Man
on
was a
something
lot
else.
better, okay?
That was phenomenal. Like people sleep on that movie if you want. When she pulled that cover, he stepped on that cover. I got chills. Real talk. When he stepped on that cover, my whole hair stood up. Was like,
son,
yo.
it's when that knife came out of nowhere
Oh,
and
sliced the sister? Yeah.
I was like, okay.
That was a great movie.
That was an excellent. Listen, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but then I realized, yo, you got that one right. I'm not ashamed. There's a song that says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel. I am not ashamed of the Invisible Man. You did that. And then back to Pastor Gray. So Pastor Gray is out here having a whole relationship trying to get himself some, not giving a care about his kids, not giving a care about his wife, doing what some men do. He out here cheating. Cause why? Cause he got it like that.
Well, he's worth
He the
$7 million.
breadwinner. He the one coming in with the money and everything because it's him. It's his name.
Well, yeah, he's worth $7 million, and he wanted to open up a couple more churches, which would take him from 7 to about 20-something, 30.
So when you can be the wife, you can have the babies and be that supportive person. But if you ain't really given anything else to it, then the man's gonna step out into whatever. So again, what is it about your wife? Because this is what you have to do in therapy. Figure out why you'd rather sleep with other women and not your wife.
Well, this is why I tell people the only cheating that's forgivable is if the other party isn't cooperating when it comes time to have physicality. If someone's purposely withholding, then that's, to me, was the only reason for forgiveness.
I mean, here's the thing, Pastor Gray. You got a belly. And maybe your wife isn't attracted to you.
Well, he's always been big, so that's a
Okay, but
problem.
I don't really know.
Yeah, that's
for all
that's
I
gonna be a
know, she
problem
could have
there.
been with you because she knew you was about to blow up.
That's true.
And maybe for her, it was more of a... Because listen, I told you, you guys were all about God, then you became all about celebrities.
Well,
Go to
I mean,
the
like,
church, watch online, you got celebrities in the front row. People can't sit in the front row. First of all, if I'm a tithing member, I can sit wherever the heck I want to sit. Don't tell me where to sit.
Well, the thing is, her.
You had Donald, what is it? Not Donald Glover. Yeah. You had Donald Glover. You had Tisha Campbell Martin. You have Tyrese because you friends. Like, you have celebrities present all the time. And just like, what's his name? Who's the bishop? Bishop T.D. Jakes. You had Diddy and his family there. Now, I didn't know they went to church. I didn't know they went to your church, but you had to make it a whole big thing. And for me, it's a turnoff. Because once you become celebrity, I realize you're not about God. Because I don't care who is sitting there. I don't need no shout-outs. I need for you to give me the word. And if you can't give me the word and you focus on this family, sir, I've been going to your church for how long? You ain't say nothing to me. I can't even get a meeting with you. But they can because they got money, have several seats. I'm just saying.
It's business now. It's not. It's not.
It's thank
religious.
you, truth. It's a
Religion.
business.
It's a business. And I was about to say, I think his wife is starting to hang out with Dr. Dre's soon-to-be ex-wife because they're not trying to leave that bag. And the list this shorty put down of why she wants $2 million a month, I almost fell out the freaking car seat. I mean, my seat in the car.
Well, yeah, because she's accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and that's his fault. Now, then she wants to claim abuse. Lady, you saw the movie. We all saw the movie. We know he's abusive. He has Beats by Dre.
I don't know.
Hello. So, I mean, we know. We know he's abusive. But you held it in there. You stuck in there. So I don't want to hear about claims of abuse, okay? Because if he wanted to, he could have made a phone call real quick and ended this whole conversation. But you still breathing, right?
I ain't messing with you.
You don't think that he can't just push a button and say, "Can you handle that?"
I don't know if it actually happened. I think the fact that it's coming out now because he is unwilling to break down to her ridiculous demands. Unfortunately, this is what lawyers do. He has a history of domestic violence. We haven't heard anything from between them two, but we know he slapped the crap out of D. He beat the crap out of Michelle A. But as far as his wife he's with now, we haven't heard a whisper of any kind of physicality.
When you saw the movie on Lifetime about Michelle A, you should have been said, "I'm gonna give me a divorce," because that wasn't sitting well with me.
That's crazy. Because like I tell you this, there are a lot of people that do grow, or they do. I won't say they change, they grow. Like especially me. Like, before Michelle, anybody that dated me, I was fucking all of your friends and everybody in your vicinity. But it got to a point to, like, I think I was single for a couple of years before I met Michelle. And it was just more lines of, I was ready. I took time to myself. I built myself to the way I wanted to, which is being totally honest, being blunt, not really caring about how you feel about it. As long as it's the truth, you can like it or not. But I was ready at that time when we met 6 years ago to settle down. So I was ready to make that change. But prior to then, man.
Michelle A had a baby with Suge.
Well,
I'll believe anything she says. Okay?
She about that bag too.
Yeah, she about that bag. But still, listen, I mean, let me get knocked up by a millionaire, a billionaire. Tyler, you're a billionaire now. Can we have a conversation?
I don't know. To me, I think
can I have your baby?
I think that's sad. That's just me. How women go out here and, they purposely do that, and a lot of the money and what works against her is all their kids are grown. So child support is out of the window. No college and none of that stuff. They're all grown. They're all adults.
That is ridiculous. I mean, lady.
$2 million a month?
You should just stay in the marriage. Why are you leaving now? Why are you leaving now?
I think he wanted out. But I love how he did was, listen, I will give you spousal support. There's nothing wrong with that. But now she wants property. She wants half. And she's going crazy with it now.
Hey.
We're going to talk about that tomorrow, though.
The guys will get to that tomorrow. And next week, we're going to play a game of Where is Senator Cory Booker?
I ain't messing with you.
Do you know where he is?
Oh, man.
Sir, Butterfly Blackout would love to have a conversation with you about everything going on in Jersey. And what are your thoughts on us not having our 24-hour gym? Thoughts on Belmar, Atlas Gym? And I think you have a Republican candidate that was looking for you. And, sir, you were nowhere to be found. You got some explaining to do. Next time.